All right, so this is Super Mario World 11 Exit. Let me pause that just to eliminate that background music for just a second. So, uh, anybody that's interested in starting to run Super Mario World, this might work for you. I'm really doing this for one person, so I'll start off with a couple things that are specifically directed at that individual to get them started. I will try to remember to put like the description when I actually get into the movement. If you're already comfortable with speed running and thought through timers and all that kind of fun stuff, you can probably skip some of this early stuff. I'll try to put that timestamp in the beginning so you can jump ahead as needed. Also, keep in mind that I'm not an expert on this game. Like I don't know a whole lot about the hitboxes and ways to manipulate certain things. And this is a glitchless. This is kind of an entry level speedrunning. I think my best time in practice is just under 13 minutes. I think my fastest like official time that I've recorded is 13:20 seconds, something like that. So it's not. You can look at the leaderboards on speedrun.com and see that I'm not super fast on this. So Gabe, a couple things to get started. I think this would be a great thing to do for your extra live stream. I think you could do a 12-hour challenge. And the way 12-hour challenges typically work, it's just a great way to get people to try something new. So a lot of times speedrunners will say, like over the weekend, a lot of times in February, maybe twice a year, some people will put out like, hey, let's do a 12-hour challenge. This time we're going to try to do, this specific type of game, maybe on this console or something like that. And you give yourself a total of 12 hours to do some research, to practice a little bit, and then try to complete a run within that 12 hours. Most people try to do it in a day, but I think you can kind of modify that and use this video time as part of that 12 hours. Do some practicing, make sure you're comfortable playing with it, and then maybe block out an hour and a half, 2 hours on your stream during your extra life portion to be able to try to complete some runs. And you're not trying to go for a world record. You're number one trying to just get one run under your belt and then see like, hey, can I improve on that a little bit? And I think that would be a lot of fun to do in a setting like that. I think you would want to do it maybe, kind of early on in your stream. I wouldn't want to try that at like 3 or 4 in the morning because this is a platform where you're going to want to have, some mental faculties about you and your response time and reflex time to be good. So keep that in mind. A couple things about this. You've got options. You've got a Switch. I think you've got a SNES Classic. I'm pretty sure you do. And of course, you could do on a PC like an emulator to play Super Mario World. I'm going to recommend the SNES Classic. Number one, you've already got the controller that's going to be the same one that you're used to playing from back in your days on a console. And the SNES Classic is a pretty solid emulator box in terms of like input lag, really, really minimal and consistent. In my experience, I've had some people disagree with me on the amount of input lag that they think there's none at all. Either way, it's a pretty solid box. Whereas with like the Switch, to me that seems to have a lot more input lag, and that can get kind of frustrating, especially if you're trying to do this for the first time. And then you're either going to have to use the Joy Cons, which can be really tough, especially with some of the things that I'm going to show you, or use like a Pro controller. Your 8-bit Do or 8-bit Do might work better. I'd still just recommend the SNES Classic. You can plug it right in to whatever capture device you're using, like that you'd use for your PS5 or PS4. So I think that makes it really easy to just unplug one HDMI cable, plug another one in, and you're good to go. So that's what I would recommend. The next thing that you're going to want is a timer. Timer software, since you're a Windows guy, I think, you've got plenty of options. LiveSplit and XSplit are two really popular ones. If you just Google like speedrun timers, you can find several. The one that you see right now is the browser-based version of LiveSplit. It's like one.livesplit.com because I'm on a Mac, and there was the splitter that I used to use was Landfair, but with Big Sur, it took that out. There's one in the App Store I haven't really tried to play with yet, so I'm just using a browser-based one. So a lot of times, the way that OBS records on this Mac, like once I hit it, it will actually delay recording of that. But most timers, I would recommend finding one that allows you to do negative time for starting, because with this game, if you set it to negative 2.2 seconds start, you can hit start and whatever your button on your keyboard is to start your timer. If you do that at the same time, then your timer will hit 0 seconds right when you gain control of Mario, which is officially when timing begins on this. So negative 2.2 seconds. In terms of setting splits up, I'm going to recommend to start with that you do one per level. That's 11 different splits, but early on that'll give you a chance to see like, oh man, I was barely short on beating my time. I was over by 2 seconds, when you're doing your second or third run. But then you might see like, man, but that's really because I was, 4 seconds behind on this level and 8 seconds behind because I missed this jump. And it makes it easy to see like how some small seeming mistakes can add up. And it also makes it easy to see like how much time you can improve by doing another run or two. So I'd say do one per level. The most important thing though, whether you have splits for every level, is that you know when you're gonna hit the split to keep it consistent. So I use audio cues. I'll tell you what I use. Use whatever works for you. The timing on this game again starts when you gain movement over Mario, which is negative two, or it's 2.2 seconds after you hit the start button. After that input's registered, and then the timing ends as soon as the princess appears on it. That's when you would end your timer, and that's your time. So that's that. There's plenty of options on that. The other thing that I will reference while doing this is the grip. So a lot of times, those of us that are old, like myself, but started with NES, you would hold down like with your thumb. You would hold down like the B button, and then you would use the inside of your thumb to hit the jump. And I've frequently done that. Like if I want to spin jump, since it's on A over here, I would switch because both of these buttons, X and Y, do the same thing. They run slash shoot slash twirl the cape slash hold something. So you could just kind of switch back and forth between one or the other and then use the inside of your thumb to jump. There are some times on this where I'm going to recommend a different grip, and you've said you've got big hands, so I think this will be fairly easy for you. It's called the claw grip. And what you're going to do is just put your index finger up on this, and it's much easier when you're not trying to twist your arm around to show a camera. But essentially, you'll just use your index finger and keep it on that X button at the very top, and that way it's always on run. And that allows me, it's a lot easier to do a couple things. Number one, I can just tap a jump button a lot easier than I seem to be able to using the inside of my thumb. It seems like a lot of times I hold down jump too long when I'm doing it that way. So that's number one. But then the other thing is when you're swimming and you're holding a shell to move faster through the water, you can just tap this other button to spin to kill an enemy with the cape and not lose the shell. And sometimes that's a little bit more tricky you have to slide really quickly or try to fat finger it, which can be a little bit challenging. So I'll point out when I use standard grip versus claw grip. But that's just what that is. And it's a little awkward at first, but I'd say try it. It'll make things a lot easier, especially for the second level that you're going to go into, depending on how you want to approach that. And I'll give you some ideas on that. But just being able to quickly tap with your thumb as opposed to trying to use the inside of it, it's just easier for me. Try it out, see what makes sense for you. So the other thing that a couple of the things before we actually get started is this is one thing that I do know about the movement is falling off a ledge is not good. It causes your momentum to slow down versus if you jump off a ledge. Anytime that you jump and land, you don't seem to really lose any speed. In fact, you'll see people at top tier jumping and jumping all the time, and it doesn't seem to cost them any speed or anything like that. But if you fall off a ledge, if you run off the edge of it, then that will cause you to slow down. You'll lose some of your P speed, et cetera, et cetera. So just to demonstrate what I'm talking about here, let me get this stuff out of the way. So I think some of those are going to respawn. But so I come through here and I jump, and my speed is the same, right? But if I'm running at full speed and then I fall off, there's that little bit of time where it just kind of lags, and that's usually not a big time loss, but it's something just to be aware of. Just something to keep up with. So keep that in mind. I'm going to suggest starting with Yoshi because he gives you an extra damage boost. And on the second level specifically, if you fall off, like you jump, do the normal jump with Yoshi, but then you can also hit the spin jump button A if you're in the air and jump off of him. And so if you miss a platform and short it, and then you can jump while you're in the air, and that might save you from dying, and you might be able to salvage that run, right? Lose a little bit of time, but again, your goal right now is just to get that first run under your belt. So I think that's everything that I wanted to cover. So we'll start this up. So anytime that you do this, I have like some save states. A great thing about a SNES Classic also is it makes it easy to practice. So you want to make sure that you erase any data or just use a Mario that is completely empty for doing that. And so you'll want to start not from a save state. It's recommended if you post to a board because you could technically affect like RNG or certain background timers or anything like that. So starting from scratch, not starting from a timer if you're going to do a run, is a good thing. Pick anyone that you want, and then you'll start your timer at the same time that you hit the start button. And so 2.2 seconds later, you see like you can control Mario before, and that's why it's important. So wait for this this little cutscene to play, and then you're gonna spam A right as that audio runs out, so you don't lose any time, and then spam right. And then as soon as you get to this, you'll be spamming A to enter this world. This world is pretty straightforward. You're just gonna you can do a standard grip and just hold run and hold right. And then you're gonna get that shell out of the way. I'm gonna tell you to grab Yoshi. You don't want to miss that block. Jump and then pause for just a second before jumping up, and then get Yoshi and do it that way. The other thing to keep in mind is as you go through this, I'm going to suggest that you, let me pause this for just a second, take this to the pause menu. I'm going to suggest that you grab a shell with Yoshi, and what that does is it keeps you from, there's a bunch of little berries. I guess I can actually show you that. As you run through this, he'll grab that berry, and as he does, he kind of pauses a little bit. So if you pick up a shell and keep that in your mouth, you can run essentially to the end of the level and not have to worry about jumping over those. It just makes it a lot easier. So I'll rewind a little bit and we'll just pick up here. So we're gonna pause for just a second, then spam Y and just take off running. So I picked up that first shell and I'm just gonna keep it in my mouth, and I'm just holding the run button and just jumping over everything. So there's a ledge coming up here, and again, I'm going to jump off of it so I don't have to worry about losing time. Jump, jump. He just swallowed that shell. Oh, I just clipped the end of that little pipe. That's it. So that's a pretty straightforward level. Ideally, I wouldn't have, I'll just pick up here. Ideally, I would not have clipped the end of that pipe. Or if I'd caught myself about to, I would have jumped again off of it. And then boom. There you go. Let me rewind this. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and start doing save spots just to make this a little bit easier. If you decide that you're going to skip Yoshi, it's pretty straightforward. You're still going to kick that shell and get out of the way. You don't have to jump over these little the Koopas coming up, because you pick up the shell right before that tries to hop in, and so you end up killing them. And so then the rest of the level is the exact same. You just run and jump over everything. Again, I'm going to go through this one more time and just get Yoshi, just so we've got that. So again, this is way too much time on level 1, but I just want to make sure that I'm thorough. So pause for just a second, then jump, spam Y or whatever button you want, pick that up, and then jump, 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 jump over the ledge. I run through the tape because we're not doing any glitches, so that is like the same as picking up a mushroom. Again, good to have. Just if you take damage at some point in the run, you're not dead, right? You can just keep going. You don't lose a whole bunch of time. So that's the first level. That's level 1 down. 10 more to go. What? And now we're going to come to the level that sucks to start with. So this level is no good. So let me go ahead and do a little save right here. The reason this level stinks is the way that you naturally approach this level when you start playing is you jump, jump, jump up here, and then you start going right. And all these platforms are really short, and you can't get P-speed. So that happened. Number one, and that's kind of frustrating. One thing that I will point out is, let me just go back to this platform. These platforms, as you stand on them, they do move to the right. So one thing that you will want to do in this level is spend as much time running on this as possible. So like, you'll want to land on it and run till the very end if you're trying to maximize your time. I don't expect that to be necessarily a big point of contention for you. So starting out, Um, I wouldn't really worry about that, but you're just gonna run, jump from ledge to ledge. It's it's not ideal, and you can't really get P speed very easily this way. See, I'm not used to doing this, so I'm dying already. You can get, you know what? I'll keep going here for just a second. You can get P speed in here, jump over that, and then jump. Again, I'm not used to doing that. So that's one way to do it, and it's perfectly fine. The tougher way, but faster way to do this level is to try to get P speed and take a different route. So what you're going to do is, as soon as I enter this level, I'm going to hold left until I see Yoshi completely turn, and then I'm going to go back to the right. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold left, and then I'm holding the run button the whole time. And again, with this level, I'm doing the claw grip. This is one because you're going to need tight jumps. So you start out here-ish. I hold left, and then I come back, and right about the time I get right about there, you'll have to practice this a couple times. You're definitely going to want to use that save function in the SNES Classic. You're going to jump to here, and then quick jump up to there, and then get back up to where you would normally go. So it's going to look, hopefully, a little bit like this. Just like that. Nailed it! I'm not used to doing this with Yoshi now. Because I just recently switched. So jump, jump, and jump. And you will have to practice that a bunch of times. But that allows you to get P speed by the time you get there, so that then you can move through the level a lot faster. And it's going to take practice for you to then figure out where you want to jump. When I first started doing this level, you know, when you complete that, it kind of feels like you're just out of control going too fast, because it's a lot of very tight jumps. But just kind of getting used to it, and big jump off that one then, so you don't have to worry about those little ledges. And a lot of very short jumps. One more big jump at the very end, and you run through. Again, that's going to take a little bit of practice to do. You can go that top route. You can also get P speed up here. I think if you jump out and then run over here, do a short jump, and then kind of, so I did get P speed. It just makes that a little bit trickier. So again, I'll do that. You can try to get P speed. It's a little bit tough. You just make sure that you jump out, and then, I don't know that I got myself enough room. You don't want to jump out and then quick jump, and then just straight run over to this little thing. And there's enough of a gap that you won't fall off. It allows you to get P speed from there. So let's take that through the entire level, or through most of the level. Short jump, then there we go, and we got P speed. And you're, again, a lot of very small jumps, right? Big jump on that second one there, again, just so you don't have to worry about falling off the ledges here. Jump over this guy, jump, jump. That's kind of a tight jump there as well. But that gets you P speed earlier. Otherwise, the first route that I mentioned, you won't get P speed until about the time that you go through the halfway point tape. And that's kind of a blind jump right there that'll take you a second to get used to. But again, perfectly fine, right? You're just trying to get a couple runs under your belt to start with. I wasn't sure that I was going to make that. I didn't hit all that. But now I've got P speed. This is the level that early on will give you the most challenges, just because you have to kind of memorize where the different platforms are at. And so if you do jump too far and you skip one platform and land on another one, how do I get to that next one? This next level, again, this is a level with a lot of small platforms, and you've got multiple options as to the path that you want to take. I'll try to show you what I did to get through. Again, your goal is just to get through, preferably without taking damage from yourself. If you lose Yoshi, not the biggest deal in the world, because you're going to get rid of him. You can't take him into the castle, and you're going to get rid of him immediately after the castle anyway. So not something that you have to worry about. Goal is to stay on the platforms and avoid the water. So you can see where, right here, where this little box is, your goal is, you're probably going to jump about right there, I think. Yeah, jump, jump, just get through these different platforms. That's something, because I had just adjusted the way I'm just started doing a shorter jump to get on this one and then jumping up to this, so I don't have to worry about it. Otherwise, when you get to this platform, jump late and do a longer jump, and when you're moving at speed, you'll hit the end of this and you'll have a short time to be able to jump up and hit that. I'll show you what that looks like. That may not make any sense, but here we go. So big jump, 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 and then big jump. Gives you a little bit of time. Jump. So this can be a little bit tricky depending on how early you get up on this. You might, if you land in the water and do a quick jump out of the water and get on this, hopefully on this edge, you can get P-speed back pretty quickly. And if you can do a small jump here and then jump from there to this, that is ideal. Otherwise, you have to try to jump as late as possible to clear this entire gap to land on that, and that can be really tough. But that, again, keeps you moving faster. So the short jump there would be what I would recommend. So let's just try to put this all in context. So jump, 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 jump there so that we can skip that. I screwed that up. Let's try again. A trained professional. Do not try this at home. All right, so short jump there. That's actually the one that I was talking about, I think. Now I'm getting confused because I've changed my routing a little bit. Hang on a second. Let's try this again. Yeah, that's the one that actually is pretty tough, I think. Now I'm forgetting. I feel really embarrassed right now. A smarter man would just edit this out of the video, but I'm not going to do that. So I just went a different way than what I told you to go before. So what I did there, swagfish is what that's called, is you essentially, if you're able to maintain momentum through this, you can jump and then just let go of jump, and that fish will just bounce you up. If you are still holding jump when you hit that fish, you'll bounce way up. That keeps you where you just run essentially right through the level. So there's multiple different ways that you can get through a level like this. It's a matter of practicing it a few times and finding out which is the most comfortable way for you to get through it. That's not what I meant to do, but it worked. And now that I'm thinking through it, I probably shouldn't have kept that fire on screen, or I probably shouldn't have eaten that. I probably should have just let Yoshi run over it, because as I was going through that level, you may have noticed there's a bunch of lag. Over time, especially as long as I kept that on the screen, that probably cost me more time than the little bit of slowdown when Yoshi runs over it. I've never really thought through that before, especially since I don't use Yoshi anymore. But so anyway, that's that level. It's pretty straightforward. Castle. I'm gonna go ahead and do a save state right here. And then at the end of this, I may try to just tack a run onto the end of this video, just to show you what this might look like in real life. I'll probably do a run without Yoshi just because I'm more used to it, but here we go. So the castle. This first jump can also be really tough because you're gonna run, and I think spin jump, naturally, you're slightly lower than you would be with a normal jump, so you're gonna run, and then as close to this ledge as possible, do a spin jump that gives you less chance of taking damage from the Koopa that was crawling across there, and that way it doesn't slow you down. So I'll do this again at some point. So you're going to run, do a little spin jump, jump over that, and then jump, and then I try to hit down or up to grab the fence. So when you're in the air, hitting up or down causes you to grab onto that fence. So if you grab the fence right above that Koopa, you can kill him, and then you'll crawl through. You won't have to stop for this, and then you can kind of jump once you get close to this. Or you could crawl over and hit down. You'll run, jump, and then you can either grab the fence and jump again. Some people will try to grab the fence really late, and that puts you right there. That Koopa won't be in the way. Then you'll run through here and go to the next room. So I'll try to show you what this looks like again in context. This is another time when I'm going to use claw grip because that spin jump, you want it really late and to tap as quickly as you can to avoid taking that damage. So we'll see if I can do it. That happens. Note, better to take the damage than to fall off there, but that's ideally what you want to do. So jump over that, jump again, and hit that guy, and we're crawling, jump, 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 grab, get on there. One other thing that I'll mention, and apologies for the background noise, those are my kids, is if you let go of the D-pad just before you get to a door, and then hit up like right as you get on it, you can go in quickly. As hard as I try to do, that's one thing that I'm not, again, an expert on the movement, but it seems like if you're still holding right and try to just like roll your thumb to the up position, you're gonna miss it. It'll like eat the input. So let go of the D-pad for right before you get to the door, and then as soon as Mario is far enough on it, you can hit up and go into it. This part, just don't get bored and kill yourself. Auto-scrollers are speedrunner hell. You will get bored at some point and probably kill yourself. Pick up the fire flower. So even if you had taken damage in the previous part of this level, when you go through the tape, you get big automatically. We're gonna jump over here. We're gonna hit. You hit up as soon as you get to that door. So this platform, as you may remember, rocks back and forth. What I'm going to do is, as I'm dropping, typically, I fire 2 shots into him, and that starts him sliding towards me. And then I will jump and try to land on his right side to kick him farther left. And then I will fire 2 shots back at him. Usually 1 shot is enough, depending on where you hit him in the shell and where the shots land, your first shots land. I fired the second one just in case I don't get him off initially. So it's like shot, shot, jump, shot, shot is the way that works. I'll try to do this since I paused it. It may not work exactly right, but we'll try it. Not exactly the way that I typically do that. Oh, I ate so much time. That's hilarious. I ate so much time with this pause that it ate up all the rewind space. We'll just run through this part of the level again. And I'll try not to do that. Jump. Okay, that's silly. Again, SNES Classic, great to practice on because that rewind function. Oops, see, I missed there. So again, once we get to that door, shoot, shoot, jump, hit him and kick him left, and then shoot, shoot again. The one thing that's also good about this is you can just keep a couple different save states and a couple different levels and just try. There you go. You can just try to work your way through that level until you're comfortable with it, and then actually move on to the next level and run that a few times until you're comfortable with it. So your practice time, you can focus on that. For timing, by the way, I forgot that when I do timing, I usually use, at the end of each level, the outro music has a little sound that plays. And anytime you defeat a boss, like in the the ghost house, and then him right after you defeat him. There's this little like whistle, like I'll usually do the timing on that. Again, that's for me. The more consistent you are in hitting your splits at the same time, that's just beneficial for you. It doesn't really, there's no official count for that. So let me, this is where you're going to give up Yoshi at this point. And there's a couple different ways to do this. Thing number one is because you're trying to go as quickly as possible. To exit Yoshi, you can just hit the A button to spin jump off, but you also fire a fireball, which then hits that dude. He doesn't give you the cape. So ideally, you want to be holding run. This is another area where I use claw grip because we're going to fly. So hold run as you're getting into the screen, and then normal jump, spin jump to get off of him, and then you can come over here and get the flower. And don't lose it like I just did then. I start this level a little bit different than you probably will starting out. So again, we want to get that, and then we want to get fly cape speed and then fly. If you're not super comfortable with flying, there is a level, or there's a spot in this level that I think is right in this area. Let's see if I can find it. Right here. This is a great spot to practice flying if you're not comfortable with it because there's no enemies. It's just a bunch of space to practice flying in. One of the things that you want to practice is not just being able to fly for an extended period of time, but try to get yourself to fly higher. So when Mario starts, like, you'll hit in the opposite direction of the way he's facing to get him to rock back up. Just as his animation starts to tilt back forward is when you would want to tap backwards again to get him to go up. And if you time that right, you can actually elevate his flight over a period of time. That's going to be important because at some point you'll screw up, you'll hit it too early, and he'll start to dip farther. And in order to get back to the right height, you're going to want to be able to do that. So let me get over to one side and just kind of show you what I'm talking about. So you can see that I'm well below those coins. See, I just made a mistake, but if you, by timing that, you can actually increase your height. So this is a good spot in the level to practice that in. Gives you good opportunity to work on your flying skills if that's something that you need. So again, I'm holding run as I enter the level, jump, spin jump to get off Yoshi, come over here, don't take damage, and start flying as soon as you possibly can. If you land on this, you can build up P speed by running back and forth and get going again. Let me see if I can just, it might be faster for me to get back to the beginning of this level this way. Oh well, never mind. If you can start your flight, if you can do your jump from one of these other platforms, let me show you what I mean. See, I was on the ground here when I started my flight, and so it was harder for me to get over that section of clouds. But if I can do my run and then jump from here, then that puts me up higher on the screen, and it's way easier to get over those clouds, and it's not an issue. Again, if you do, the worst thing that could happen is you hit it very late. If you think it's going to happen, just let yourself hit the clouds, get some run speed, and you can take off running again. There's another way to get the cape and take off faster, and it seems incredibly scary. I'm trying to think of the easiest way to do this. I'll try to record myself doing it, and then we'll just use the rewind function, and I'll pause to show you what I did if I get this right. So run, jump, and do it that way. So let me just explain what I did. So we're waiting for me to unpause the game here. So, all right, so I take off, I'm holding the run button, and what I'm gonna do is right as that ledge that I'm running towards, as soon as Mario gets to that and is kind of, that's like splitting his body essentially, I'm gonna jump while I'm still holding right, this guy that's on screen, I can't point to my screen. That's frustrating. The guy whose head is just coming on screen, he's going to go underneath Mario. I'm going to then hold left. So I jump and I'm already hit left. And now that I've reached the peak of my height, what I'm doing is I'm taking my thumb off of the jump button. And so then I'm going to come back down and I hit him, but because I wasn't holding jump, I don't bounce way up. I just bounce a little bit. Now that I've bounced off of him, now I re-grab the jump button, and I'm still holding run with the claw button the whole time. And that way, when I bounce off him the second time, I hold right, bounce off him, then I get the flower. Now I'm looking to the right side of the screen where that ledge is, and one of two things has happened. One, I went far enough left that the guy that's going to come through on that level that is right there, he didn't stay on screen, and so I can run for a little bit and then jump from here. If I had not gone far enough left, he would still be on screen, so I would have held jump after. Let me think of the easiest way to say this. Right about here, I'd be able to see him, and so I would have held jump, and with the cape, I would have floated down slower, and he would have gone. This guy that's coming up would go underneath me, and then I would run and jump. So it sounds really complicated. It's not as hard as you might think, though. So anybody trying this that wants to run Super Mario World for the first time, maybe not on your first run, but early on, I'd say try incorporating that in. So again, you're going to jump right there, hold left, then you're going to release the jump button, and you're still holding left, bounce off him, switch back to right, and now re-grab that jump button and hold it down. Bounce off him, you get the feather. Look to see if you see another enemy right about here, you're good. So let yourself drop to the ground, and then you can jump and continue flying. And so we'll go ahead and pick up from here. And then the rest of the time is just flying through the level, trying to get near the top of the screen, trying to work your way up. Because there's some pipes that we're going to try to go over at the very end. Right there. And so we're just going to grab the key and then go in. If you hit that pipe, you can kind of dive and come back up. It's a little challenging. You may actually have to get run speed down on the ground underneath it to get up to that. So that is that level. If you're comfortable with flying, it's going to be pretty straightforward and not too difficult for you. So let's save this. I'm going to enter this level before we actually get started and just talk about the swim mechanics. So A or B swims, and this is kind of anytime you tap it, that's how fast up you go. So as you're moving forward, you're also moving upward every time you hit this. But if you hit up or down with your D-pad, that affects how much you move up. So if I, like right now, not tapping or holding any up or down, 1, 2, 3, you can see that I almost touched that star on the screen. I guess it depends on how long you hit it. But if I'm holding up and hit the A or B button one time, I'm already at the top. So if I want to go up quickly, holding up, I can swim up really fast. But if I'm trying to go through a tighter area, if I hold down, I'm just spamming A. And you can even double tap with A and B at the same time. But if I'm trying to go through a tight area, I'm going to hit down, because then it's easier for me to control. You don't bob up and down so much. So just kind of keep that in mind. So as you go through this level, you're going to try to use down while holding right or left. Go over that, swim under this guy. Again, then I'm going to go up to get through here quickly. And then a lot of times I'm holding down because I don't want to bob up and down. Then I'm going to go in that pipe. Ideally, you can do a spin jump here, and I paused. So you're going to whack that Koopa with your cape and grab it, and then go in this pipe. That's going to give you a shell that you're holding in the water, allows you to move faster. Either way, it's just a little bit faster to come in this pipe, even if you don't want to try that, and then just jump in here and go down this pipe to continue on. And let's just say you want to do that. Actually, we'll just keep going. you'll just go through here. Ah! Hit that. And then get the key and go through that door. One thing that caught me, and I think I've seen a lot of other people do this, is start twirling with the cape, Y or X. Either one will make you twirl when you're in water. And it seems like you need to hit that earlier than you think you should. Hitting it early and hitting it a couple extra times is never going to cause you any problems. I don't think it slows you down at all. You just don't want to lose your cape at this point. So make sure that you're hitting that early. So again, going through the run, and I'll try to show you the shell method this time. So again, I'm kind of hitting down and right. I may be over-explaining in this video. Ideally, you don't want to bump into any walls like I did just then. Not the worst thing in the world. And then up to go in here. I'm going to jump right by that question box, and then I let go of jump about the time that I whack that dude. Oops, I wasn't paying attention. I'm talking while trying to do this. So we'll do it again. Again, I'm going to jump as I'm right below that question box, and then hit left and do that. That takes some practice. I keep forgetting. You don't want to let go of Y or X once you have that in your hand, once you've got the shell in your hand. Let's see if I can do this 3 times in a row. So jump and immediately hit back left. Oops, there we go. All right, so I'm not letting go this time. Spin, and you're moving really fast. What you want to do is keep this in your hand as long as possible. See, I lost it there, but by me keeping the shell, you move faster through the water. That probably, in a run, that would have saved me probably 2 or 3 seconds because I would have been moving faster. The sooner you lose the shell, if you accidentally spin at specific times and the shell hits the enemy instead of the cape, then of course you're going to move slower. So the longer you keep it into the level, the faster you go. So, Donut Ghost House. I don't know that I have a good strategy for this level, honestly. I'll show you the easiest way to get through this. So what I did there was I just jumped to get over those ghosts, and I hugged that wall to get this, I'm pointing at the screen again, the little dude that's just buzzing straight towards me. I'm going to duck and let him go underneath, and then I'll still have time to run to the right before the circle kind of completes and gets in my way. That'll allow me time to get P-speed, and I'll just fly over the beginning half of this level, and then I can go in the door without anything too fancy. So just jump and fly, and then there you go. That's it. Nothing super complicated. Here, you're gonna have to pause and kind of wait there. You can jump, just basic, kind of jump on this. Now what you're gonna wanna do is get P-speed, and you're gonna have to duck to get underneath a ghost, to slide underneath him, and then run for just a little bit longer to get your P-speed back, and jump and pick up a P block and then carry it to a certain spot. And that can be a little bit tight. If you fail that and you take damage so you don't have a cape anymore, you can go ahead and smash the P block, and right above the door that's on screen there, if you hit that, there's a vine that'll pop up, and you have plenty of time to crawl up that and then run to the door that you need to go through. This is just a faster way. So again, I'm gonna run, duck under the ghost, try to run a little bit more to get my P speed back, and then jump. And when I do that, I'm going to be holding Y or X, depending on which control scheme, if you're using a claw or a regular thumb grip. And that'll grab that P block, and then you'll take it over the ledge, and you could step on it and go through the door. So hopefully I'll get this right. And duck. There we go. And then step on it. There's faster ways where you can jump again and kick it and then land on the P block. I never can time that right. So with this ghost, all you're doing is you're grabbing these blocks, throwing them up in the air and hitting them. These ghosts, if You are facing them, they do not move. If you have your back to them, then they will start moving. So Y or X picks up a block, hold up as he appears, and throw it. Don't take damage there. That is, so one thing that you can do to avoid taking damage is instead of standing still and picking up a block where you fall in and then start running to the right or left, if you actually start moving and then hit Y or X, you'll still pick up a block, but you may be moving fast enough, especially if you're Big Mario, where you won't fall in the hole, you won't have to jump, you don't have to worry about taking damage from the ghosts. So, example, like I didn't fall in just then. If you take damage here, not the end of the world, it's just going to make your run slower, because you're going to have to backtrack to get a cape. That's the end of it. And the sound, pew, that's where I would split the timer. I hate that level. It's not my favorite. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Again, there's that vine right above that door, so if you do take damage early on, all is not lost. Go ahead and step on that P block, hit that block, climb up the ladder, and that door will still be there. So then we're going to continue on to Star Road. Here's the thing. When you're in a hurry and you're mashing buttons to get to the next part of the game, remember after you enter the star thing to stop mashing, because the first thing that'll happen is you'll get here and then you'll still be mashing and go back to the other spot. It's like a 2 or 3 second, maybe it's 5 seconds, I don't know, time loss, but it feels like forever when you're trying to run. So just FYI here, and then when you get close to Bowser's Castle, same thing. This level, you can, since I've got a fire flower, I generally just jump over that. Also, I think it's a little bit faster to jump. You can go straight down here, and then you want to hug this right side, and you can just jump straight down until you get to the key. Boom. That's pretty standard. I'm going to go ahead and do a save point right here. All right. So jump over it, or you can bounce your way over if you're more comfortable. I don't know how I canceled the spin just then, and then you can fall straight down. Either way, for beginner level, totally fine. The other thing that you can do is with a cape, you can actually move yourself into the blocks and get yourself forced down. It's risky, especially if you don't understand the mechanics like me, and are just trying to duplicate what you see other people do. So what happens after you get through about 4 of these, there you go. So I got forced down, and now I can't spin my way out of it. You can get pushed down faster that way. You have to be very careful, because if you start going right, you can actually get yourself pushed into the wall and kill yourself, which is not ideal. Also, so better to just hug that right side, just spin jump, and you'll break through all the blocks and fall all the way down. If you did take damage and you lost a cape, once you complete the level and you go through there, come back into the level and go down this side, just make sure you're 1 block away from the wall. There's another cape right there, and then you can pause and hit select, and that takes you out of the level. And that's not like a glitch, that's just Super Mario World. Any level that you've beaten, if you re-enter it, you can pause, and once you're paused, hit select, and you get your way out of it. So I'm going to pretend that I didn't do that, just so I think I've still got a flowers backup. So anyway, that's that level. Pretty straightforward. This, I believe, is another water level. Yes, this is a water level. So you're going to start out with, collect the star, and then pick up the little mini Yoshi and use him to carry you through the rest of the level to the very end, and it's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to get the star now, and then pick up Yoshi, and let yourself go ahead and go up to the top of the screen. You don't want to eat too many animals, because, or enemies. Once you eat 4, 5 enemies, something like that, you will he will become Big Yoshi, and then you won't be moving fast, and then you just go under the end here. Bye bye, small Yoshi. Pick up the key and go through the door. So that one's pretty straightforward. I don't think we should spend a whole lot of time on that. It's really a matter of practicing that and knowing when to come down with it, which is, if you look at the pattern of Greenfish, is pretty easy and pretty straightforward. This level is when you have the cape. This is one of 2 levels where it really makes it faster to have a cape. This is easy. You're going to hold run and hold right when entering the level. You will automatically pick up a P block, and you're going to jump at a certain spot, and you're going to have to kind of turn back and forth, but there's a small entryway that you're going to go up into, and then you'll pick up a key, go through the secret exit. It's an incredibly short level. So run immediately, jump, and hold back the opposite direction. I kind of zigzag just to make sure that I make it through. Oops. Don't do that. I've never actually done that in a run, by the way. So again, hold right and run, jump. All right, get rid of that. Pick up the key, jump over here, and voila. And that's that level. Done. It's the shortest split that you'll have all day. So this level, because we haven't done any switch palaces on this run, and you don't in this run, the only way that you can get to the key is utilizing the cape. As far as I know, there may be some tricks to do it, but it would definitely be slower. Cape is the way to go, so you need a cape on this level. You can do it one of 2 ways. Just take off running, big jump, and just go to as far right as possible. This is the beginner strat. This is what I'm going to recommend. You may get bounced there. That's okay. There's a ledge right there that if you don't get up high enough, you might get knocked out of flying. I'll try to show you what that looks like in a second. So let me rewind this for a second. So as you're flying along, you will see, where is it? Okay, here we go. We see, there it is, the first pipe. That tells me that I'm getting close to where I'm gonna stop flying. And then right there, I'm gonna land on that platform, and I'm gonna get the shell from that guy. I don't even know how I did that. That is incredibly cool. So let's try this again. And then what I'm gonna do is walk off the end. But then once I walk off the end, if you're not holding jump, you fall really quickly, right? But even if you walk off, if I hold B while I'm wearing the cape, then my speed is really my fall speed is slow, and that allows you to kind of glide over to that area. So you can just let go of Y. I get the shell, I walk off, then I hold B. I was talking and not paying attention to what I was doing, so I didn't hold B fast enough. You've really got a lot more latitude there than what I just made it look like, because I'm special. So bounce on him, get that, hold B. Now I can ping it off of there. There you go. So that's that way to do it. Let me show you what happens if you don't fly high enough. So let's say that I don't get up high enough to, well, that's not exactly what I had in mind. That's not usually the spot where you might run into trouble. So let's say you don't get up high enough. When you hit those guys, you don't really take damage. You can get P speed. I think there you go, and you can start flying again. It's a little bit tight, but you can get P speed and can make it through the level that way. The fastest way to get through this level is, instead of a big jump at the beginning, do a very small jump. And then you're gonna fly on the bottom of the screen. The challenge here is there are some platforms that are pretty close to the bottom of the screen, and you've got to wait till you get past those. So you've got to be pretty good about not falling too far or you'll die. And then once you get past those, pretty quickly you're going to have to get enough height to make it onto the platform. I'll try to show you what that looks like. So I'm hanging out here at the bottom of the screen, and I don't really want to get much higher than that because that platform would have got me. And there's a couple more up here. That one is the one that is dangerous, but now I've got to get up pretty quickly because otherwise I miss that platform. So keep that in mind. That's faster. I've timed it for myself the way I do this level. I can't remember exactly how much faster it is. But it's not much. It's maybe a second or two. So to start out with, go to the top. You want to improve your time a little bit? You feeling a little brave, a little bold? Try the bottom. Spicy route. So again, we're gonna hit. As soon as you get to that star, you're gonna be spamming A, and then stop spamming A because you don't want to get sent backwards. So Bowser's Castle. Let me go ahead and do a save spot here. Bowser's Castle, if you don't remember, gives you options on which levels to go through. So there are 4 different openings that you can go through. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to go with option number 2. And then in the second round, you'll choose option number 5. So 2 and 5 are the fastest to go through. And what you'll do is just run and jump and keep holding jump, grab. I actually was talking, so I got through that a little bit later than normal. But essentially, you'll run and jump, and then light grab the fence and jump again and kind of glide, jump again, and that'll get you over to the other platform, and you go through the door. So run, jump, grab, and now I'm over and through. And that's level 2. That's pretty straightforward. 5 is, here, I'll tell you my approach to doing this. Rather than using normal visual cues, I use the timer. And it's not exactly seconds, it's faster than seconds, but I will count, let's just call it seconds on that timer, 10. 10 is when I will hit right. I'm holding the run button. Usually I grab it on 8 or 9 and then hit right as soon as it hits the 10th digit. So that way it times you perfectly. You'll get underneath everything. So let's hit up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did I time that wrong? Maybe I misread that. That is fantastic. Let's just go ahead and start here. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Again, if you let go right before you go in that that door, then you might be able to hit up. It just saves a little bit of time. In this section, if you don't turn the light on, it does reduce lag in this room. The lag, maybe it cost you a second or two. For me, it makes it easier to not fall in a pit. So what I do is I'll run and I'll spin jump and hit that button, turn the light on, and keep going to the top of the screen, and then try to ride it through like so. I'll kind of let go there and then re-grab to see if I can hit that guy, and then try to spin jump there, and then I'll jump here. The reason that I spin jumped at the end and held jump is you kind of slide. I spin jump and then I still go up once I get past that ledge. And the reason I do that is you can do a smaller jump, it seems like, and get in that door faster than if I'm just running with P speed and hit jump with the cape. It seems like you do this really big jump, even if you just tap jump. It seems like a much bigger jump than you need. So by doing it that way, it's just faster a little bit. So again, spin jump off that, kind of re-grab. Sometimes I can maintain kind of some P speed going through there. Again, not a huge deal. Your goal here is to get to Bowser. So again, he's going to throw some Mecha Koopas out. Your goal is to stomp on them, throw him back up in the air, hit him, and be done. This is a glitchless run, so we didn't do any weird shenanigans to have stuff in our inventory or anything like that. So you kind of play the waiting game here. So that's round one. If you miss one, screw something up, eventually he'll do another cycle of throwing Mecha Koopas out. The downside is you just waste time that way. It's really easy to lose time on the Bowser fight. I don't know that I'm trying to think if I've ever done a run without screwing something up in at least one phase of the Bowser fight. So in the second one, from now on out, his movement mirrors Mario. So it will affect throwing Mecha Koopas up at him. You typically will have to run and jump to throw them. Also with this round, he will start throwing these giant little bowling ball looking thingies at you. You can spin jump and bounce off them. Again, just don't take damage. Don't get bored, don't get hit, don't jump into that propeller. Those are bad. Same thing though, we're gonna jump and get that up in the air. See, like I bounced one off the side. So now I've got to wait for, in a run, you're just like, oh, that was stupid. Now I've got to wait for 2 more bowling balls, get a couple more Mecha Koopas, something like that. But if you do your best to keep one of the Koopas, the Mecha Koopas with you, and that will help you end the next round a little bit faster. Did I miss him? No, I got him. So now that I've stepped on him, eventually he will start moving again unless you pick him up and put him down or bounce him, like kind of bump into him. So I don't want him to come back to life and damage me. So I'll keep doing this. So that's damaged. The challenge with this section is when he throws a Mecha Koopa, if I jump on it, but before I can grab it, if he, like I just leave it there, oh, he just bounced it off screen. So you have to be careful about that. Anyway. So that's the end of the Bowser fight. Again, timing stops or ends as soon as the princess appears on screen. That's it. That's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to try now to do a run start to finish. I'm not going to grab Yoshi, but just so you can see what a run looks like in real life, let me make sure my timer's working and that it's showing on screen correctly. Yeah, it's a little bit delayed because I'm using the browser-based version from what I typically do. But we'll just try to do a run real quick, and I think that's about everything I have to cover. Man, you can always hit me up, Gabe, if you've ever got any other questions, if there's something that I didn't explain, or you've got questions about stuff, I'll do my best to answer. Again, I'm not an expert, but I don't know, you try, you figure it out, and go from there. So, again, I'm going to say 3, 2, 1 and hit this, and I think on the recording my timer will be delayed, but I did actually hit him at the same time. In fact, when I end it, it'll be delayed on that side as well. So anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. There we go. All right. Spam A to get out of that. Spam right. Spam A again. And we're running. And we're running. Get that shell out of here. I don't need that in my life. And bonk. And bonk. We jump. And we jump. And we jump again. Run through the tape. Now I'm big. I'm a man's man now. Now I'm a real plumber. Certified. Alright, so jump. We're not falling off ledges. We're jumping over everything. Jump over that little joker. I don't know why I jumped at the end. That doesn't really matter. Also, for timing, this is one thing I forgot to do. That ba is when I usually do my timer. Again, I do it that way so I'm consistent from one to the next. All right, here we go. I'm really glad I didn't bite it there. Again, I'm trying to run as long as I can on those platforms that move. Not something that early on you should really be concerned with. On this level specifically, you're just trying to get through the level without dying, honestly. And there's that level. When you do a run on this, that level, more than any other level, feels almost out of control, like you're on a motorcycle that's going faster than you are prepared to drive it. If you get P-speed early on, it can feel just awkward. Oh, I beefed that so bad. And beefed that again. Oh well. No worries. So because I fell in the water, because it was going back and forth in my head between strats, I hit the water a couple times. We'll see how much... Oh, which I'd done on my previous runs on this, so I'm not losing any time there. Maybe would have cost me a second and a half, 2 seconds, something like that. So that's not a big deal. Ooh, didn't take damage. That's good. Jump. Get that. I'm gonna jump. And jump. Jump. Oh, I beefed that. All right, now don't die. Don't run around too much and do something stupid. Auto scrollers. Ugh. It's brutal. You just get the thing is you just feel like you're wasting time after you've been running through levels as fast as you can, and then it's just like... Alright, so we're gonna wait for that. And then we'll run over here and hit up as soon as we can. Shoot, shoot, jump, shoot, shoot. And then, woo! That's when I split. Da, 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 da. I can't remember if I actually have to hit buttons here or if it automatically goes on. At the end of this cutscene, you do have to hit buttons to progress, in case I wasn't clear on that earlier. So things that I'm thinking about at this point, one, I'm thinking about like, how am I doing so far? What are the challenges that I have coming up? The first thing to remember is I need to be holding run when I enter the next level. So I'm spamming A once that music stops. And then I can stop until right about now. I'm gonna start spamming A again. That's gonna do that same thing. I'm holding run, and I can just go to the right, see if I get this. So I had to hold that jump button a little bit longer so I would kind of glide over that enemy so I don't take damage. And then I'm flying. Again, that method of getting that feather, I wouldn't necessarily recommend starting with it for your first couple runs, but you know, if you decide that you want to run a little bit more than just for like an extra live stream or a 12-hour challenge, then that's something that I would want to look at pretty early on, because if you practice it a few times, you can make that work. It looks really complicated. It sounds complicated, but you practice it a few times, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's not as hard as what my brain was trying to make it. Let's hope I don't lose the cape here, because that can happen. Okay. Well, I'm going to lose a little bit of time on this split. That happens. Not the worst thing in the world. Oh! Sometimes you can grab the key as Mario's momentum is going up, and it helps you get up faster. If you go back down, it just slows your progress a little bit. So if you want to get really fancy, there are ways to keep your P-speed through doors that I have not really learned yet, and it looks really cool, but that's beyond my skill to teach you for sure. So I don't recommend going for that. Oh, pfft, I threw that too early. That's on me. So you have to keep in mind that it's only going to hit him once he appears to a certain extent. And so that'll give you an idea of when to throw it. I think you may have to spam A at the end of this. I'm going to do it anyway just to be on the safe side. This is another area where you spam A to get through that continue and save. And then I'm going to stop spamming A because we don't want to come back to that. Hit up, spam A again. Jump over that. All right, go over here. That actually worked really well. So maybe I wasn't holding the X or Y button earlier. That may have been part of my problem. Now, I haven't been picking up this star lately, but I'm feeling a little cautious about my skills today, so I am actually going to pick up. So while you're swimming, you can still hit the other X or Y button to go through stuff. So after that group of fish is when I'm going to head down to the bottom, get underneath here. Oh, pfft. Grab the key, man. I was a little slow on that. So I lost time on my previous run because I took damage and I had to go back to get the feather. That's why I just saved so much time. It looks like, oh my gosh, how did you save so much time on that? Well, because in the previous run I had to go backwards. So just because I'm so close to the end, I'm gonna play it safe and take the high route here. Make sure I can finish this run since I'm doing this just as a demo anyway. Oh my, that's interesting. Let me try to get back up quickly. I thought I was gonna hit that top Koopa and get bounced way up in the air, so I wasn't worried about it. Whew. Okay. Don't spam here. There we go. Now spam A again. And spam A to get through this cutscene. And we take off running. Grab, jump. Oh. That wasn't as smooth as I would like it to be, but here we go. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How did I do that again? I don't know how I'm mistiming that. So this is going to be interesting because I'm used to having the a cape there. Well, we'll just keep going. We'll pretend that didn't happen. It's a little embarrassing, I gotta be honest. 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe I naturally just delay normally on that. Ooh, I'm scared of... See how slow Mario is moving right now? That's because I've got that light. If I didn't have that, if I had left that light off, you'd be moving a lot faster, but it's just hard to see, especially since I didn't have a cape there. That would have been really challenging. So I'm probably not going to PB because I died and had to go back through half the level. So I don't know exactly how much time I lost there, but that happens. Not every run is going to be better than your previous one. Hopefully you take something away that helps you get better on the next one. That's the way it goes. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, man. Nothing that I can think of. Again, there's probably more advanced resources if you decide you want to go further down the rabbit hole with this. But it's a fun game just to try to do on your own, even if you don't want to use some of the strats that I showed and just want to figure out your own thing. There's nothing wrong with that. So give it a shot, man. I think you'll have fun with it. I think on my first stream, I think the first time I did this Extra Life, mistake that I made was doing it like midnight or something like that, and I'd started. That's disappointing. I'd started at like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. that day. But I got through a run or two, and all of a sudden I realized that I was close to like a 14-minute-ish run. And so that became a goal. So I ended up streaming it for longer than I'd intended to, and barely did clear the 14-minute mark. And it was just so satisfying to do while on stream. It can be a really fun thing. Okay, so I chose not to get the Mecha Koopa there because I was never going to grab him. Oh, I was never going to grab him in time. Is that going to hit? There we go. Let's see how close we are here. So even with me completely blowing that earlier, I still was so close to getting a PB. So there's two ways to look at that now. It's like, ah, man, I missed it. That's such a bummer. Or like, oh my gosh, I wasted all that time and I still almost beat my best run ever. That tells me that I can do this. I can get better than that. And that's one of the most satisfying things to me about this. So I think that's pretty much it, man. I think I didn't PB, so I'm not gonna wait through all of the credits and everything, but that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, man, let me know. I'll do whatever I can to help you out, and hope that you enjoy giving it a shot. Talk to you later.